some point we will click over onto YouTube and be live. At some point. It's about a 7-second delay, and we're at like 13 seconds. So there we are. We are alive. Yay. And also live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
How is everyone today in the chat and in the screen? And I just hit the wrong button. Welcome to my world. That's what I wanted. Lauren Clark just said we're queens.
Yes.
Well, Lauren likes to be referred to as Beyonce, so.
Wow. Thank you, Beyonce. I appreciate it. I can't complain.
Oh, we're cuties as well now.
Yeah.
Cuties? Oh, so
We're
cute.
living the dream now. I'm going to pop out my chat here real quick so that I don't have to stare at my face behind where I'm talking, because that weirds me out every time. Anyway, anybody have anything fun they'd like to say for the start of the chat?
Pressure.
Pressure.
In the mirror.
On Amazon and other places. I should have linked it down below. I will link it down below.
That's pre-order now.
Yay! I have linked everyone's video or everyone's channel down below. So if you see a face that you're not used to and you like that face, then their channel is down below. Also, because the main question that I got from Instagram was about Preptober and planning for NaNoWriMo, I also linked Natalia Lee's video for her Preptober workbook.
Ooh, I got that. I'm
Well.
excited.
I haven't got the one this year yet. I still have one from last year that I've never used, just because I didn't do a new book for NaNoWriMo, so I didn't need it. But I have it.
I've never done any kind of notebook or bullet journal or anything, so I just really I figured this would be a good intro to that, because she kind of has everything in it that she would do on a journal. So I figured I'll know if I'll like the whole bullet journal kind of thing if I like this, which it looks really fun, so I think I'll like it. But I'm just too lazy. That's why I've never done it. I'm just like, oh, so much work. I mean,
I plan to do something very similar to what I did for camp, which is make my own pages in my bullet journal that are NaNoWriMo related. Probably.
Right.
Maybe.
no,
So
I'm
in the real world.
So have you looked in the workbook yet? It doesn't come out until October 1st. And then I have to find some place to get it printed. So I'm not sure, because I'm in Canada, so I'm not sure what if they have like Staples or if they have a version. I don't know. So I have to research that, and then I'm just gonna get it printed out. But she showed a lot of the pages on one of her videos, and so it looked really fun. So I was all like,
Yeah, I have the one from last year also, and it is a really good sort of like setup, especially if you're doing a brand new story. I used it. I was gonna do a new project last year, and then like midway through, I changed. So I only used part of it, but I plan to use it for this year because it just is one place to put like character ideas, setting ideas. It's got all the sort of things to think about to get you ready for a new project. So.
okay, yeah, it looks fun. And I just saw your video, Laura. So can we weigh in on what we think you should do? I hate that because it is so hard to cut. I had a similar struggle, so I get it. But it's like you almost have to have that epiphany moment before you decide for yourself,
I know. It's like I think I'm going to spend October half like plotting, the Preptober, plotting for a new project, and the other half just continuing my revision. And I think just at the end of October, I'm just going to be like, this is what I'm going to work on. It's so hard because I am like in my book and I'm really into the revisions and I really want to get it done, but I've been so excited to start something new, and it would be so nice to take a break. Plus I really miss like striving for word count with people, you know.
I
I
know.
kind of want to do that and just kind of give my current project a break. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's the one like downside with NaNoWriMo, like in November, is that I always want to be contributing new words rather than editing, because it really is like just getting to achieve that way with everyone else.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I wanted so badly to be drafting something new, and I went through about 3 different ideas of new things I could be drafting, and all of them were fantasy ideas because I haven't worked on fantasy for ages. But my heart was calling me to one of my old sci-fi novels to revise it. So that's what I do nowadays. I just go with what I'm going to enjoy because the writing turns out a lot better. So yeah.
No, it's smart.
Yeah, I think maybe once I start plotting too, because it's just an idea right now.
Mm-hmm.
So once I start plotting, if the plotting is painful, then maybe I'll go back to, you know, the revision. And that way, if the plotting is getting me really excited, I'm into it, then maybe I'll just keep going, you know, in that direction. So
Yeah.
I said that I was going to work on my 2 stories that I have started and haven't finished, and I was like looking at it. I'm like, no, you have 3 that you've started and haven't finished. First draft one, because I forgot I started a new one at the last camp.
Oh, yeah.
So like I have 3 completely different type stories that I've started first drafts on. Well, second drafts. 0 draft is done. First draft is halfway done. So like maybe I should work on those.
I know, that's the struggle. It's when you have stuff that's not finished, and it's like, I mean, I don't know, because that's the thing about NaNoWriMo. That's why I related so much to your video, Laura, because it's just like, there's just this whole concept behind it of like write a novel in a month, you know, and it's so exciting, and you just want to be a part of it, and it's just like, and so when you have stuff that needs to be finished, it's like, I mean, I'm kind of doing the same thing. Like I was going to do a brand new novel, but it gave me a panic attack, and so I had to stop. And so I started thinking about it, and I was like, last year I did the fantasy novel, but I dropped it. Like I haven't even like touched it since last Nano. And so that's what I decided to do. I'm just going to work on the fantasy novel, but it's three different girls' stories. So I am drafting because 2 of the girls, I haven't told their stories. So it's still going to be like 70, 80K of new words.
Right.
So October for me will probably be trying to finish up the first girl's story so that I only have to do the 2 girls' stories.
Yeah.
But it is technically finishing an old more.
Well, it seems like the best of both worlds then, because you get like sort of a project, but it's still new stuff, and you have that exciting aspect of it being
right
new stuff, you know?
Yeah, it just, but I had to, like what you were talking about, I had to get like that epiphany moment of like, okay, this feels right. Like I needed that because I was feeling so pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
I'm just terrified.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like I want to work on several things, and I think that's where I'll go. But like, I haven't planned anything yet, so October will be like my decision month. But I really need to keep editing the sequel to Inner Mirror. That's huge. And then I have other stuff that I want to. Well, I still have to outline other books, and I might start a new one. Like I might, because I wrote the sequel last Nano, I might write the 3rd book. But I hate the rushing too, because there's so much of the 2nd book that's crap. And yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I really don't know what I'm going to do.
And the other dilemma is if you do edit, how do you track that? Like I can't decide in my mind whether getting editing words is harder or easier, because sometimes it's easier because you're like, copy paste 1,000 words, excellent. And then sometimes it's harder because you have to spend like 2 hours researching one specific term, and you can't just put in a placeholder. So
that's why I don't even know how to track with the hours and things like that. Yeah, that's easier to track. So I think that I'm going to have to draft something new, so at least I can get the word count up, and then maybe work on other things at the same time. I'm thinking like I'll block out time, like 2 hours per project or something.
That's what I'm planning on doing because I want to work on Death as my official NaNoWriMo story, and then have like the third book of the Meridian Map series I'm working on. So I'm thinking I'm going to do like a morning is Project Death, and then an afternoon is Meridian Maps, and then if I need anything else, I can do it at night. It's going to be interesting, but I think the time blocking is what I'm going to do too.
I think part of it is that I would say 3 or 4 years ago, most of us didn't do, I don't say most of us, wasn't the 6 of us, but most people who do NaNoWriMo weren't necessarily doing camp. And because like we are all like starting new stories during camp, we get to November and we're like, but I still need to work on those 2 stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
The number of like Nano Rebels is so much higher than it used to be. Because we've already started 2 new stories at the beginning of the year, and we get to November, we're like, crap, I need to edit those. And I think I've been seeing that a lot, like in the community as a whole. A lot more people are working on editing or finishing other drafts of things that they've started, or doing like multiple projects during regular Nano, because we've also got the camps where we're starting new projects and not finishing them for whatever reason, because that's how life works. But just very interesting to see like how many more rebels there are now versus like 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, you'd very rarely ever heard of anyone being like a Nano Rebel. It wasn't really a thing.
I was always a Nano Rebel. Like the first year I did it, I just did it. Like that's when I wrote Dream Diaries. But then the next 2 or maybe even 3 years, I was always finishing, like you said, finishing projects. That's when I finished like Atlas Rising, and like you know what I mean? So I never hit the 50K. I was just finishing up the word count of what I needed, but that I kind of didn't like it. I don't know. I felt disconnected from it. Like it wasn't a real Nano to me. And I know, and I totally get, like, I mean, it's totally cool when people like are into being rebels, and I mean that's just for me personally. I just felt like I wasn't really a part of it, and I kind of dropped it in terms of updating and stuff like that. I'd say around mid-month.
Well, I think that's interesting because even like with the camps, when I'm doing more editing and stuff like that, I like that everyone's still working on things and there's live streams and that, but it doesn't feel like a Nano.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the April one did, for the fact that I drafted something new, which I've never looked at again. Yeah, and then the last one, I don't know. It was good because I got a lot of work done, but I barely remember it as a camp. Yeah.
Right. Another month of writing.
Yeah, and then like because all my months are the same now, as like editing or drafting or whatever, that they were just blurring together.
Yeah, and I think that's why Nano's so special. You know what I mean? Because then it's like you want to do something different than what you are already doing all the time, you know, and I guess that's sort of the lure of it, you know, of just like doing something with the community and just like everyone going.
And then it's always like that sad, like parting of the ways kind of thing at the end of November, because then everyone's not doing the same thing again.
I know.
Yeah. Last year, like the daily vlogs and stuff, and the seeing if everyone's hitting it and like, oh no, they're behind, we got to help them. And
yeah, I love that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to draft something new.
Right? Yeah. And I've never won Nano in November. The only time I've ever written 50K in a month was Camp Nano in April. But it's not the same. It's not the same as like winning it with everybody else in November. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, now that I've actually done it in a month before, I need to do it during Nano so I could actually win Nano for once. I've tried 4 other times and I've never been able to do it because I was always teaching, and November is such a big month for grading. And this is my first year doing it when I'm not teaching. And I'm like, I have the time, sort of, you know, like, so.
Yeah, you should do it.
I think I am, yeah. I think you guys have convinced me already.
I have zero idea what I'm going to be doing in November as far as like if I'm going to have time to write. And I literally since the end of July camp have written 1 day. So all of August, all of September, just about, I've written 1 day. and I don't know how productive I'm going to be, but my goal basically for like the last 3 months of the year is to write 50K for the last 3 months, like
Right.
all together.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
I'm going to try to do NaNoWriMos because it's fun.
You just drag it out, NaNoWriMo.
Trying. But I don't know what's going to happen. So it's just right now, it's literally just when I have time and when I feel like it. I did read 2 books this week, and I'm feeling really good about it.
That's awesome.
2 whole books from start to finish, because I have 5 sitting next to me that I've read halfway through and haven't finished.
Mm-hmm.
And 7 arcs I need to read. It's fine. Everything's fine. New life motto.
We should probably look at the comments. So people are probably talking.
I'm reading them right now. I've been reading them a lot and replying.
I haven't read any of them. I'm terrible. I always put the pop-up chat, but I got so into our conversation. I missed so much.
No, I just saw my name in orange, and that's the only comment I've read.
I see Nicole says NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo. I like that. I know there's some people that do the 50,000 every month. I can't remember what they call it.
Oh God, yeah.
No.
And there are people who try to do like 1 million in a year, aren't there?
Yeah, or 1 million.
Do 1 million in Nano.
Yeah.
Like in
Well,
November.
that's just wrong. That's wrong.
That's just
You shouldn't
showboating.
do that. Don't do it.
Make the rest of us look bad.
Yeah.
It's got to be stream of consciousness because I can't see how 1 million words in a month would make much sense.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to try and do the mental maths of how much that would be today, like per day, but
Yeah. God, I know.
Yeah.
It's probably a nano in a day.
I'm pretty sure that in December I won't be writing anything. I won't be filming anything. Just lie back every day.
I know. I got burned out pretty bad last year too.
I'm hoping to avoid the NaNoWriMo hangover this year. So
Yeah. Me too. I'm gonna try not to, but
Yeah.
it was tough.
see, I have, I'm sending, well, you guys know, not everyone knows probably, but I'm sending my work to a freelance editor on the 21st of October. And then I'll have the week before Nano and 3 weeks of Nano where I don't have to think about it. I can do something else. And then her turnaround is 4 weeks. So by the 21st of November, I'll probably get her feedback back. And then I don't know whether, like, I'm worried the feedback will be bad. And that then for the last week of Nano, I'll be like, oh God, I don't want to write. I'm a horrible writer. But I'm also like, do I just start December and then dive into the new edits on that? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if you could stand not looking at it if you got it back.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I want to look at it when she sends it to me, just so that, like, if she's done a good job, I can say, oh, thanks so much. Like, I don't know, give her some kind of feedback about her feedback, if that makes any sense. I don't want to just get the email, then silence. but yeah, I don't know.
Put in the subject line if I should open this or not. Thank you.
I mean, I've heard
reward for finishing, right? Like you can't look at it until you finish.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh,
So then it might push you to do
yeah.
more in those last few days to get your Nano done early so that you can look at the comments.
That's good.
Yes, that is. You're a genius.
Laura coming in with the bright ideas
I have a few every now and then.
every 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Me too. It's fair. Oh, golly gee willikers. I don't know that I've ever won actual Nano. I know I've won camp, but I don't know if I've ever actually won Nano. 50,000 words in a month is not, it's not me. It's not my style.
Well, last year was the first time I did November Nano ever, and I won. But I was going to do it the year before, and I realized that where I was sort of mentally, I would never get to it, and I thought there was just no point in me participating because I knew that I would have just felt bad.
Mm.
during the time. And it was funny because I made a video weighing up like if I was going to do it or not. And you could tell the people who didn't watch it because they're like, oh, good luck for Nano. And I'm like, at the end of the video, I say I'm not doing it. You didn't watch.
Oh, that's funny.
Sometimes we don't walk all the way to the end, okay? God.
I actually have a friend who has a different YouTube channel, and she does like on finance and stuff. And at the very end of the video, she always gives a secret like emoji that if you watch to the end, she asks you to put that emoji in your comment so that she knows you watch it to the end. So I thought that was funny.
I sometimes get comments on my video that make it seem as if they haven't even watched to the beginning. Like they have the basic premise that I explained in the opening paragraph. So I'm like, not paragraph, I don't know.
Introduction.
Paragraph in speech. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes it's as if they've just looked at the title or not even looked at the title. I'm so confused. But you had that, Emily, didn't you? Where like you had something about Australia.
Yeah, and asking if I was Australian. Yeah.
It's just the internet's like that.
Well,
And
I
I
think
had
there's a lot of
on
people that are poor listeners too. Like, and sometimes people, and to be fair, sometimes people are doing other things. Like
Yeah.
I watch most YouTube videos while I'm at work. So I'm listening and I have it like propped up next to my computer screen. But, you know, sometimes things, you know, get missed. So.
Yeah, I totally understand why it happens, but it can be kind of amusing when it does.
You're like,
And you're just like, which video is this a reply to? Because I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, I got something on my book trailer video, and it was a weird comment, and I was like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Because it's a video about the book and not about how I write. So yeah, it was weird. So I have to look back at that one. And
Do you guys ever delete comments?
Sorry?
Do you guys ever delete comments?
No.
Only if it's like obviously a spam link or something.
Yeah. But then YouTube usually doesn't let them.
Yeah. Well, you know, things are like held for review, and then you can.
Did you ask if we ever delete comments?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have it on my writing channel. I have a personal channel too, where I've done some like videos about being plus size. So I've had a few. A lot of times I will just comment back. So, but there's been a few where I'm just like, okay, not today, Satan. I don't have time for this, you know. But usually I try to think of something funny to respond. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I just leave all of Linda's comments up. I just let Linda say her piece, and
you're always gonna have a fat Linda that you can't. So
I feel like if I leave Linda's comment on there for them to like jump, like maybe the other Lindas will jump on board and we'll just all be in one stream. There's like multiple different comments. Like maybe they can maybe I'll learn something about myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why they're saying it, because they want me to know things about myself that I should know.
In all honesty, all the fat Lindas are 11 years old. That's why I don't even bother. Like, no human being who's an adult, who's not a sociopath, is leaving these comments, you know? Like, so I'm just like, okay, go to bed, sweetie. Like, someone needs to take mommy's phone away from you. So that's why I usually don't let it get to me too much.
I just really like the videos that people do where they'll use all their negative comments as like a music video, and like those are the lyrics. I love those so much, because I'm like, who writes this stuff? Who does that? Who's like, you should die, or you're so ugly, or your boyfriend's gay, or whatever. Like, who has time for that?
I once had someone tell me I looked like a 13-year-old boy. I was like,
okay.
You occasionally look like a 13-year-old.
I was like, of all the things, that was definitely the weirdest. I was just like, I don't even know what to say to that, but cool. Okay.
Oh my God. Lauren says, remember Vladimir. Vladimir was the worst thing that ever happened on my stream, but also so funny. Vladimir was when I was streaming alone and I did not have the backup of you guys. And it was just somebody asking for something that nobody else wanted to see from me. It was so funny.
Oh.
Yeah, and then because I at that point I didn't even know how to block someone because I'd never had to, but I managed to block the account, and then they just made a new account. It's like, why?
That's what happened with Fat Linda and me.
Oh.
First she came in as Linda, then she came in as Fat Linda, then she finally came in as Fat Linda from the Ozarks, and I was like, all right, you know. So that's why they're all just Fat Lindas to me. I'm just assuming that every troll I get is Fat Linda in a new. So
Fat Linda from the Ozarks.
Yeah, Fat Linda from the Ozarks. So I've been to the Ozarks, so I don't blame her. She was probably pretty bored.
I don't get a lot of them. Like every once in a while, I'll get like some weirdo, but we get them a lot on Kate streams. Like guys that are just way off base, and I'm like, delete. Like she'll be talking and having a conversation, and I'm just over here in the chat going, delete.
Yeah.
It's fine. Totally fine. Linda does have too much time on their hands.
Vladimir from the Ozarks. It was probably Linda's brother.
Vladimir and
Linda's brother / boyfriend. So
when that family has a kid, they just open up a baby name book and go for a random page.
To be fair, that's what we do when we name our book children. So
That was the best thing about coming up with a new series. I spent so much time on name generators and baby name websites. Like, oh yeah, that one sounds good. Oh, that one doesn't sound good with this name.
I hate naming.
I
love
it. Like that's probably one of the only reasons why I ever considered having children is just because I want to name things. So I have my husband and I have no intentions of having any children, but we have like 9 names picked out just you know.
Because I have I'll have a person in mind and then I pick names and I think no, they don't look like that, or I can't even see them until I have a name. I can't understand how anyone writes without names. Like
for me, it's that I already see them. I already see them so clearly, and then every name I think of, I'm like, that's not quite them. That's not quite them. That's not quite them either, and I have to like compromise.
Yeah,
it's like there is no name that exists to perfectly describe what I've already envisioned.
Well, I think that's why I do it early too, because it is hard.
Yeah,
anything's hard once you drafted or even halfway through.
Yeah.
I think pretty much every time I do a first draft, I compromise on a name and I'm like, it's okay, this is the placeholder, and then inevitably that sticks every single time.
That person, and then you can't imagine the character being something else.
Yeah. But the worst one, the biggest problem I have was when I thought of this name. I'm like, I don't know if that's a real name. I wanted to use it in like a sci-fi thing, and I googled it, and not only was it a real name, but the main woman it was associated was like a really horrible person, and I'm like, oh, I don't want people to see my character but think of this horrible real person. So I couldn't do it.
I actually recently changed one of the names of like a bad character in my book because I realized 2 of the names just were a little too similar. But then the new name, I really liked it. But then the more I was writing, I really started liking the name, and it made me start liking this character. And I was like, wait, maybe I shouldn't make her bad anymore. Maybe I should just take her out of the book, give her own book. Because I like the name so much. So yeah, it totally changed how I felt about her. I was like, well, maybe she's not that bad. Maybe I should, give her a more complex backstory so that we understand why she's horrible. So I wanted to justify it just because I like her name.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, names. I had I had a character that I named, and then I kept calling him Malcolm. I kept literally writing Malcolm instead of his name, which was like John or something like that. So finally, I was like, okay, I guess his name is Malcolm.
Yeah.
15 times now. I'm like, well, who's Malcolm? Like, why do I keep putting Malcolm?
Have you ever had a character change their background story?
Yeah.
I've had characters, one in particular in my fantasy story, where they were supposed to be from this specific background that made their plot line make sense, and he was like, no, I don't like that. I'm going to be this person. And I'm like, how did I get here? Like, he does not exist. I am in control. And yet, somehow we're here. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. And it's so weird. Like, they're just like, no, I don't want to be that. I want to be this. You ruined that plot line, and now I had to find somebody else to rope into that. Thank you.
Well, that's usually because you've decided they have to do something else and they don't fit together anymore. They've done something to no longer be that person.
It was a character that I was killing off anyway. Like, I feel like he found out that I was going to kill him, and he was trying to, like...
I want to live.
I don't know. He dies.
Yeah, I hate that. Whenever I kill someone off, I'm like, okay, I've got to make readers really care for this person so that they'll, you know, have their hearts broken. And then I accidentally make myself care. And then it's so much harder to kill them off. I'm like, why?
I've got that coming up, and I'm like, oh, this is sad.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
In which series, Emily? I have.
Kate looks so shocked.
Yeah.
Well, that's all because I
just wait.
So if it's the next one in that or the third one, I don't know that I'm going to be prepared for it. So.
I got really good feedback in a book, and I'm going to make people sad.
I can't read anything sad right now, so I'm out. I had a book picked out for the Contemporary-a-thon. It was like real sad, and I was like, nope, that's a bad idea. I'm just going to put that over here. I thought I wasn't going to. I read Well Met, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to read it. Because, like, at the very beginning, you find out that, like, the main character is moving in with her sister to take care of her sister who's ill and her young child. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this, guys.
Yeah.
But it turned out that she fell in, like, she was in a car wreck and she broke her leg. So, like, she was going to get better. So I was like, okay, I can handle that. And then there was, like, some backdoor stuff that killed me. And I was sobbing in the car driving down the road.
Oh.
I thought I was going to be okay. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first like 20 pages, I was like, I don't know if I can read this right now where I'm at in my personal life. I don't know if this is gonna work for me. And then I was like, oh, she was like, all right, cool, I can read that. That's fine. She's gonna be fine. She can walk later. Whew. Reading comments.
Oh yeah. I keep terrible comments.
Oh, Tristan. Someone brought up Tristan.
There will be a Tristan in every book that I write from now on.
That is so funny.
Every single book. It may just be like, she looked at the barista's name tag. It said Tristan. Thanks, Tristan. Every book will have a Tristan.
Tristan Roberts.
Robert's going to be so proud. So mad, but so proud.
And people are talking about the name Ezra. Can I be controversial and say I hate the name Ezra?
I love the name Ezra.
I love that name.
I liked it until Pretty Little Liars, and then I was like, meh.
That's why I hate it.
That's true.
Yeah.
His name.
I didn't even associate it with that. That's so funny. I probably should, but
That was the first time I'd ever heard the name.
okay.
Yeah, and I
haven't
thought
watched
I was
it.
Stevie.
Yeah, see, I grew up with an Ezra, so I think my brain just always goes there, and he was a really sweet guy, so it's like, you know, I forget, like, because when I watch TV shows, especially things like Pretty Little Liars, where there's so many characters, and they're always throwing in red herrings, so you're constantly being bombarded with new characters. I never remember anybody's name, even the main characters, you know? I'm like, what was her name again?
See, I just, as soon as there's like a character I don't like with that name, it's like that name is dead to me.
You're like, done.
Yeah. So Ezra is definitely, I'm never behind a storyline where a teacher is dating a student.
No, I agree. That was
Ever.
creepy.
It doesn't matter what the scenario is. I don't care if
I know.
it's 18. Like, I hate those storylines. I feel like almost every teen drama does it. And I hate this idea that it perpetuates. And also, as someone who taught 18 and 19-year-olds, they don't look like the teens on the TV shows. So like people don't understand like how skeevy that really is to have an adult dating like a 17-year-old, like 18 and 19-year-olds. No offense to anyone in the air, but y'all are children, right? Like it's a child, and to be dating like an adult, and not just childlike in like how you look, but like your life, what you've experienced. So like I can just never get behind. I don't care how like grown up for their age they are or whatever. I hate that.
Yeah, same. Like, and weren't they like sophomores? I think it was even worse than that. Like
They
16.
Yeah, they were really young.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And then when you find out he knew all along who she was.
I know. It just got worse. It just got worse.
Got worse as the day went on.
Yeah.
Someone else said Colette, which I think is really pretty.
Yeah, I like that.
The name Colette.
I feel like there's something with that name that I can't think of, but yeah, I like French name. I like French women's names a lot. So I like Colette.
My aunt always said, she has 2 boys, and she told them that if you ever meet a girl at a bar and you want to take her home, you need a certified copy of her birth certificate and her driver's license. You need to make sure everything matches up. Find out how old she is for real. Then you can take her home.
I'm thinking of Cosette from Les Mis. Okay, that's why I was like, where? Why does that feel familiar? Yeah, Cosette.
Cassette. Isn't like cassette not like a cassette tape, but like cassette? Isn't it like the princess from The Princess and the Swan? Or the princess is the swan? The Swan Princess. I'm thinking the Princess and the Frog and the Swan Princess at the same time. I'm not drunk, I swear. I'm drinking Gatorade. It's fine. Wearing my Disney shirt. The Swan Princess must not be Disney because it's not on my shirt. Odin. See, people in the comments got my back. They knew what I was talking about. Swan Princess, the princess.
Odette, yeah.
It was a good movie.
Oh, and someone's pointing out how paranormal romances always have the weird age thing as well. Like, that's such a huge thing in YA, where it's like the protagonist is a teenager. The male lead is...
I don't understand it. What is a 150-year-old person? I don't care what they look like. I don't care they never aged. They've literally had 150 years of life experience. What do you have in common with a 16-year-old? Like, I don't get it.
It's about the mind.
I saw someone on Twitter, please. I saw someone on Twitter say that they wanted to see like a paranormal romance where they both are like 150-year-old, like different things. Like,
yeah, I saw that too.
Will they, won't they for millennia, you know? Like,
that would be awesome. I'd love that.
So
I dig that.
Well, I mean, it's also reflected in, if you look at movies today, not necessarily romance, but like action movies or things that are more geared towards men. Like the male lead will be in his 40s or 50s, and the female lead is like early 20s. Yes. And like there are girls that go out for the role that are more age appropriate for it, but they're like, we're looking for someone younger.
Yeah.
They're getting better about it, but it's still like early 30s as opposed to, 50s.
Like the dude's 60 and she's 32.
Yeah, it's like they're trying, but it's still terrible. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
can we get these people some age appropriate romances, please?
yeah.
Everybody. Teenagers need age appropriate romances. Old people need age appropriate romances. I mean, just saying. Kylie says men in Hollywood get better with age, but women aren't. That's because their faces are plastic when they're 60. Different. Technically, then they're younger because their whole face is new.
I don't know. I think Becca could agree. When you live in LA, everyone's face is plastic. Man, woman, young, old, it doesn't matter. They're all doing something to their face.
Yeah.
That's why Becca looks so young.
Right.
The brand new plastic.
Inflated.
Or because
like
she
this
is a
thing.
paranormal creature.
Were you also bitten by a vampire in like your early 20s?
Wish at this point, man.
You and Paul Rudd, just like the only two people you'll still hear like 200 years from now looking the same.
That was awesome, actually. I would be totally down for that.
So weird. Kylie wants to know what we think about dark romance in general and how big it's gotten.
What exactly does that mean, dark romance?
What's dark
Am I out of the loop?
Dark romance, like paranormal or like
Abusive or like what?
Yeah, like I want to know before I say anything.
like
What is
Shades of Grey, like what kind of dark romance are we talking about?
It's like down the rabbit hole abusive. Oh, I see what you mean. Like things like
50
those
Shades
books
of
where
Grey.
they're abusive and they still love each other or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's romanticized, yeah, that.
Mm.
I mean, like Beauty and the Beast, Stockholm Syndrome,
Mm.
Yeah.
way darker than that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, could that be?
I always write about soft beans falling in love because I'm just a soft bean who wants to fall in love with a soft bean, so that's what I relate to. Like, I don't know what I read. I think that's probably what I like to read as well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm such a sucker for best friend to lovers, and the only conflict being, but we're best friends. Will it be weird? Like, that's enough conflict to sustain me.
See, I'm not. I don't have a problem with it as long as it's not like he can hit me because I love him sort of thing. Like if there's some kind of like they're really trying to deal with it and there's psychological problems or something like that, like if it's more thriller-esque. But if it's really that's made into a romance where it's supposed to be showing like, oh, it's okay, he can hit me, like, or she can hit him or whatever. Like, yeah. I think it just depends how it's dealt with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that like for me, the biggest problem I have is when I see problematic behavior that's being coded as just being protective. I don't like that because I know too many young girls who then they really internalize that and it's like, well, he just really loves me. And so like, that's why he's watching me sleep every night, Edward, you know, it's like those kinds of behaviors. It's like, they see it as sweet. Like he really loves me. That's why he's so intense. And it's like, no, that's actually really toxic behavior. So I don't like it when it's masked as being like intense love or being protective. Like I would rather see something where if a guy is really protective, then he also is trying to help empower her so that she can take care of herself. You know, like
I think there's a lot of insidious stuff that goes under the radar as well, which is like the way how in a lot of young adult romance, the protagonist's identity becomes defined by the love. And so who she is revolves around how she relates to this one person. And it's like, no, you can be a separate entity with your own interests and personality traits and all that kind of stuff. And it's subtle, but it's equally like, don't run your life that way.
Yeah.
I feel like the same problem or a similar problem happens in TV shows too. You know, the thing about how once the main characters get together, the TV show immediately goes down like the tube because it's
Oh yeah,
know how to write the characters as their own people, which they have been for seasons. But now that they're together, it's like we must write them as people and blah blah blah. Like
they become one character.
I hate though on TV shows. I mean, I hate that in the sense that sometimes characters genuinely belong with each other, and I like it. And I would love to see a TV show where they stayed a couple the entire strong couple that the entire season. Like I hate it when they like make them hook up with somebody else. Just it's like, were you bored? I mean, this character can never break up with this person. You just established, and yes, I'm talking about Vampire Diaries. You just established that they are like beyond like meant for each other. Like through time, doppelgangers are recreated every freaking 100 years because that's how much they love each other. And then she sleeps with his brother and just stays with him for the rest of this. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, or like that you like once they get together, then they have to make something cause them to break up, and then they get back together, and then they break up. It's like, you know, there are a lot of things that couples go through, other than things like infidelity. You know, like I would like that, like you said, Becca. Like I'd like to see a show where they just show like we can have 1 or 2 seasons where we're wanting them to get together, but then once they're together, there's so many things you can explore with them as a couple, through actual life issues, because being in a relationship is very difficult, and to actually show that you can have highs and lows and ups and downs without it just being like cheating or like what, like we're not telling each other things. Like there are things that would be interesting to watch.
It's way more interesting to see, like I mean, I don't want to give spoilers away, but like in the most recent Veronica Mars, which killed me, it's like I would much rather see the difficulties of getting through certain problems than just like axing somebody or like having them like whatever. It's just like you've just made it now typical and boring, and like now there's nothing interesting for me because I've seen this a gajillion times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so I have my beefs with TV. Although I watch a ton of it, so.
I just saw, I think it was Haley in the comments brought up Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is what I was thinking about, where, like Jake and Amy get together, but I was thinking at the time, oh God, now it's that whole thing, they're going to ruin it. But they're still their own people.
They're still together.
Yes.
So.
Love that, yeah.
Yes.
They did it really well.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they stick with it because I feel like that is something that people have talked about and are wanting, and I hope that creators are listening because that would be great. Like I get worried now that it's actually been back on the air again. I'm like, I get worried that they're going to break them up. And it's just like, I mean, I know they're fictional, but it's like they wouldn't. They would work it out.
I think a lot of times the breaking up is just bad writing. People don't have any other ideas. And I feel like with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they have really good writers. And I think that they have enough ideas that they don't have to fall back on something cliche, like just breaking them up for tension.
And they always bring old storylines back into like new episodes. So it really feels like you're following their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas older shows, they'll just forget they did something. It's like, that contradicts that other thing. And
yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there that didn't the Brooklyn Nine-Nine creators do Parks and Rec, which is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
They handled the Leslie and Ben relationship so well, and it didn't go down. So anyways,
Okay, I haven't seen that, so I will see that now.
Oh. You have to watch it.
I have watched none of this because I don't know what TV is, but yay. What's TV?
See, I would always
you.
watch
I've
a TV
watched barely any
show.
of this.
Yeah, I would watch a TV show over a movie any day.
Same. Yeah. Although I haven't watched much lately because I got sucked into Love Island. So I just finished season 2 of Love Island UK. So because there's so many episodes, there's like 40 of them, and so it's just like, and we're just like, so like that's literally all my husband and I did like all weekend is just like lay on the couch.
addictive.
We needed a break, we were like, God, we just need a break. Let's just lay on the couch and watch Love Island all weekend.
The Australian one's just about to begin, like a new season, and I've never watched it before, but the advertisements are really making me want to watch it.
I want to go back to the first Love Island Australia because I haven't seen any of the Australian ones. So I'm like, all the episodes.
It'll be so bad.
I've found that other countries do reality shows so much better than the U.S. The U.S. is boring and cliche, and
Australia's not that much better.
I like Australian Big Brother. I like the Australian Big Brother better than the U.S. Big Brother.
Yeah, we follow a lot and then we get lost.
Yeah.
But if it's a show that it's been created in Australia, then that's usually pretty good. But if we're following the way this it's like we've done The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, but we've done it so many years later than everyone else did. And it's like no one cares anymore.
I really loved the Australian show Dance Academy. I don't know if you ever watched that. Oh my God, it's so good. It's on Netflix. It's like about like these young like teens that are like really great dancers. They're like in this ballet school, but then there's also like teen angst and like all the regular drama of being a teen, but they're also like premier dancers.
Oh God, I would love to watch that. That sounds right up my alley.
Oh, it's so good.
It's probably not going to be on Netflix UK though.
They perform a lot. They go around to different towns and perform as well, those kids.
Yeah.
I just love all kinds of competitive dance environments in fiction and fact. It's kind of an obsession for me.
Yeah.
You know, the most recent thing that I actually watched like episodes of on TV was the Australian show Harrow.
Which one?
Harrow, like Harrow. It's a crime show. It's Australian. It's made by, is it like ABC Australia maybe?
Mm.
I don't remember exactly, but it's on Netflix in the States, and it is it's like a crime drama.
Mm.
I watched
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of crime stuff from ABC, so I've probably missed it.
I watched both seasons in like the 3 days that I was at Brittany's house sitting. It was real good.
Anything from ABC Australia is usually really good.
It was like, I'm trying to think of the guy's name, but I can't. It's not working for me. But it's the lead from Forever.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his name, but
I know he was first Fantastic Four or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the guy.
I like him.
That guy.
That's the guy. But I think he's Scottish.
Is he?
Yeah. Wasn't he in some kind of pirate show?
I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know. He's been in a lot. Like he works.
Black Sails.
He was in Santa
Black Sails. Black Sails.
But yeah, it kind of is like a weird cross between like Forever, because he is very much like his character in Forever, and Dexter, in my opinion. Like those two things. It's very weird.
Very intriguing.
Very much like it.
Oh, he's Welsh, Charlie
Welsh.
says.
Way to go, Charlie. Having my back. I knew it was like Europe somewhere. My maps are not good right now, but it was somewhere
I guess.
east of here.
And in real life, he's married to the actress that plays the mom of the originals.
Oh.
Wow.
Just a little trivia.
We're trying to convince Lauren or Beyonce to try out for Love Island next
I
season.
saw that. I so hope it happens.
So here for that.
Amazing. I always like want one of my friends up in Dallas, because they're like a little bit more into like a certain kind of scene, to try out for The Bachelor. That we have here, just because I want to know someone who can then tell me all of the behind the scenes secrets. Like, I just want to, it would just be so cool.
I had a friend who was on Big Brother like years and years ago, and I was so excited. And he was like the first one eliminated. I was like,
Oh, who was he?
Yeah.
I was actually just trying to think.
I had
Lauren. I don't even remember his name now. But it'll come to me. It'll come to me.
someone from my hometown was
At
on.
the time, he was a photographer for TMZ. And it was the season of Big Brother where they were couples. Like they had to start as couples. God, why is his name? It was like years ago.
Oh gosh, that was the wasn't that like the when the strike was happening? So it was like it was in January.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
I worked with him at the time. We were friends, but it was like 15 years ago. So
Yeah, it was a while ago.
I'm so old. It was like right when Aaron and I first started dating. And
Stop
I can't.
saying you're old. None of you can say you're old.
Well, my memory is really bad. Like the only thing I can remember people's names from are like TV shows. Like books, I can literally like just shut it, and then I was like, what was that person's name? I can't.
I feel so much better to hear you say that, because I have that problem with books all the time. It doesn't make sense. I've spent so many hours reading the name over.
Yeah, I don't know why. I cannot remember names in books ever, and it drives Kevin nuts, because I'm always just like, the chick is like the main character. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If it's in first person, for me, it's even worse as well, because you don't get that repetition on every page.
Yeah.
I
I
know.
mean, if it's like a series, like the Vampire Academy series, I can typically remember like all of their names. It's like Harry Potter, obviously, and the Witchland series, like things that I've either read more than once or
That's true. Yeah. Like
multiple book series, like I got their names. But if it was like a standalone and I read it 5 years ago, and you want me to know what the characters' names are, no.
Yeah.
You'd be lucky if I could tell you the plot,
Yeah, that's true.
which typically means I didn't like it very much, even if I loved it at the time.
Oh, Danielle, Love Island is a reality show, or it's like a dating show, and you can watch it on Hulu. I have yet to watch it. I tried watching the American version, and it was terrible.
We don't care.
Yeah, American versions of international shows are always terrible. Like Skins UK, one of my favorite shows of all time.
So
The American Skins.
They made an American
I didn't
one.
watch it. I didn't even try it. There's no way.
I didn't know they'd done that in America.
I watched the first 5 minutes and I was like, no.
Yeah, no. I've watched the original, like the original 4 seasons.
Oh, they're all so good.
They're amazing.
I love
It's
Skins
just
so much.
I literally started watching it again like a couple weeks ago.
Every couple of years, I feel like my husband and I watch them all again.
Yeah, I know. It's so good. And it's amazing to see like all the actors and how successful they are now.
Yeah.
Gendry on Game of Thrones.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we never call him Gendry. We always call him Chris.
Yeah. Aaron and I did, like the chick who played Cassie. We're always just
Yes,
like
Cassie.
in the new movie.
I don't even know.
In the new movie.
Yes. We never call them by anything but their names. Yes, that's so funny.
Wait, did they do Being Human as well? Someone said Being Human UK. There's a non-UK Being
American
Human
version, but to be fair, I really liked the American version. Sorry, I loved it.
I had no concept that this existed even.
Oh, really? It went for like 3 seasons.
Wow.
I don't understand the concept of why they remake it. Like,
Money.
We're unable to connect with Britain. Like,
well, I'll tell you, like,
I didn't language. It's a similar society. Like,
they don't. I mean, the kind of stuff
or is it?
and stuff they would never put on a show here. It's just not even.
Well, that is part. But my thing is, like, it's not like you have like futuristic technology over there that I don't think you do, that you're hiding from us. Like, you can't teleport. You still have to use either public transportation or a vehicle or a bicycle to get somewhere. Like, and it's like
we have a lot of TARDISes, so
that's true. But it's like we have to watch stuff from, I mean, we don't have to, but like we can watch stuff from the 80s and the 70s and figure out how that works, even though they don't have anything that we have now, especially like the younger millennial generation. But we can't figure out what a tube is. Or
I don't know if it's also
we don't care about other countries, that we only want to see people in our own country, and that the majority of people, you know, and a lot of times I forget that there are people like that until I move back out to the country. And to be honest, it's like that. Like, a lot of people like only want to watch, like, what do I want to watch something about someone in England for? Like, I mean, honestly, like, people are really like that. So, but I think the problem is when you try to like make it an American version, it loses something, you know. Like, I feel like the only example I can think of that was maybe done well was The Office, right?
Yeah.
That was originally, but that's because they made the American version so different and they had very talented people working on it. So
it's just meant to make money. That's all.
yeah.
I just know that I have a 12-year-old niece that is real angry that they did the first season of The Lodge on Disney. Like, in the US, they played the whole thing, and then they stopped showing it. But in every other country, they're still doing it. Like, it was filmed in the UK and is based in the UK, and I think they're on like season 3 in the UK, but they're not ever going to show them in the United States.
Oh,
like, she gets mad about it all the time. She yells at me for it all the time. Have they released that in the States yet? Because you told me they haven't. I'm like, no, they're not going to. They don't like you. No,
Okay, who's that?
No.
I think my uncle's here. I think that's right.
the unforgettable sounds of
Like, my dog's snoring at my feet, so it's not me.
Oh, they're every 2 seconds. Little fox terrier and little Jack Russell, and they're so loud.
Aw.
I'm like, I have 14 dogs in my 14, 15, I don't know, 14 dogs at my house right now, and that definitely was not me. So
No, just 2 little ones here. Everyone's talking about the dogs.
Hey, Becca, it looks like Sophie is asking about writing screenplays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I saw.
I think it's like
Oh yeah, I mean,
know if anyone else writes screenplays here. I don't know, Kate. Do they?
I mean, I've written a lot of screenplays and teleplays and stuff like that. Yeah, and I mean, I was in the TV industry for a long time, but And like with movie scripts though, I never had anything produced. But I just like placed in contests and stuff like that. So that's about the extent of the success there. And then I went from TV to writing books.
Do you still write scripts?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, that's usually, even though I'll be working on book related stuff, but like for, April NaNoWriMo, I usually end up working on screenplays because all the contests are due like Nichols and Austin and stuff like that, like right after like May and June. Those are like the due dates. So I usually spend April just fixing up or writing whatever I need to write and then entering contests and stuff like that. And I still place in contests, but it doesn't really do much. I don't know. Like I got into the semifinals of Nichols, and that definitely helped a lot when I was first starting. And then I entered teleplays and stuff into Austin. And so I've placed in Austin, I think 3 or 4 times. And I used like spec scripts. So like I placed with a Supernatural spec script, Medium, if you guys remember that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a House.
Oh.
And a Psych. You guys remember that too.
Oh yeah.
My favorite show. What about
I have tried to write a spec script before, but I have a really hard time writing characters that were not created by myself.
You know, I for some reason, like, I love it because it's like I guess it's kind of like fan fiction if you think about it in that same way.
I never wrote fan fiction either because I just, for whatever reason, I can't get myself
same
to be able to write that.
I get so into a TV show that it's like I feel like I know the characters like myself kind of thing. So yeah, and then the only other one that I placed with was with a teleplay with Will. That was Slam Dance, and we actually Stefan and we entered together on a script as well. He's sitting right next to me, so I'm like, hey. We played actually 2 years in a row in the final for Slam Dance for teleplay. So we've done a lot of contests, but you know, it's like.
What are the prizes usually on those contests, Becca? Like
cash, and then but also usually like with the Slam Dance one, it was that they would option the screenplay. Fox 21 would option it, so they were optioned both years, but you know they didn't do anything with it.
Nothing. Mm-hmm.
So just like the rest of our lives.
Yeah, like Nichols was the only one that really got me anywhere. Like, and that's just because it's run by the Academy, so I think like people care more about it. I don't know, but that was the one where it was like I got phone calls and like, you know, it was like it was cool. Like it was actually like, oh my god, you know. But yeah, but I haven't really done much with screenplays or teleplays because obviously I've been focusing on books and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to have you focusing on books.
Yeah.
We will keep you around.
Most of the books that I write were based on the teleplays and screenplays that I wrote, though. They're pretty much, like Riser, that was a TV show. Atlas was a TV show. I think Alexis is the only, my Alexis Tappendorf series was the only one that didn't start as a screenplay.
Oh, I mean.
Oh, Becca, I just remembered. Sorry. It came to me. Remember, I told you like the name would just appear to me. The guy's name was Parker. I went to college with him.
Oh, okay.
Big brother. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's like,
no, that's good. I'll have to look it up.
It was Parker, so. Okay.
If I don't say it now, I'll forget it again.
I was afraid I would forget it if I didn't just say it right then. It was Parker.
Okay, so like I said, in Instagram, 87% of all of the questions, there were only 7 questions. 87% of all the questions was, what are we doing for Preptober? I know we talked about it a little bit, but what are you guys planning to do for Preptober? Sans Phoebe, who is not doing Preptober because
Prep week.
she's gonna have Preptober week.
I've already started, so.
Someone's an
Well,
over.
so have I, technically.
Becca, are you gonna share your prep at some point on your channel, or
Yeah.
like,
I'm going. Yeah, I know. Kate and I we're actually talking today about maps, because there's like all these cool map programs and stuff. And so, because I had done a map by hand, just so I could get everything, where I knew everything was, because it's a fantasy world. So I actually found this. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and I found this one map program that worked really well. And so I just did my map today. So, so yeah, I'm gonna actually do a video on maps, because I recorded it all, like me drawing the whole thing. So like I have it all sped up, which it looks really cool.
Oh, cool. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, Kaylin was saying Incarnate. Incarnate is so good.
That's my favorite.
So good. It's just the only problem with it for me is that they don't have an undo button, and you have to get the paid version, of course, to use it commercially. Like if I was going to put it in my book. And so there's another program that was almost identical, like in terms of quality, and it's called Wonderdraft. But it's actually built more like a program. So it has like undo, and like it's kind of almost like a Photoshop-y type thing, but it's really user-friendly. But the map quality is on par with Incarnate, and so that's why I went with that. And it's $30, but it's forever. Like Incarnate is $25 a year, so it's a subscription based. And so the nice thing about the Wonderdraft is that it's like $30, but that's like forever. And you have the license, commercial license, so you can use, you can use them and then use your maps and publish them in your books and stuff like that. So that was the only reason why I went with Wonderdraft over Incarnate. So Incarnate was amazing. Like I tried the free version. I was just like, oh my God, this is so pretty. But just unfortunately, I need that undo button.
Yep.
I'm not that talented.
My map is currently on a piece of lined paper.
Well, yeah, that's what mine was. And so I just wanted to, if I was going to publish this, I really wanted to have a map that to look like, that I scribbled it out. So, so yeah, I kind of went on these, I basically just watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials. I watched a bunch on Incarnate and then I've watched a bunch on Wonderdraft. And there's a couple others, but those were the two that stood out in terms of quality. And then the only reason why I went with Wonderdraft was because of the ability to erase. Crazy. Oh, and the other thing that that Wonderdraft does that Incarnate doesn't is that you can actually have a brush that does the crazy edges. So that it like with because you have to carve them in yourself with Incarnate, which is fine and good, but it's just a little extra step. Whereas this will actually randomly make the jagged edges to make it already kind of look like a map with the brush itself. So there's a lot of like little tiny details of why I end up going, but I tried both and I love both. Both are amazing. And Incarnate's great because it's free. So if you're not planning on publishing them and you just are making them for yourself, for your book, or for your, just for, like D&D, which is probably what we're going to use it for, it's perfect. So, yeah. Anyway, that was my map story. Video.
I was just singing Dora the Explorer songs in the comment section, so
I know, now I have that in my head. Thank you, Jessica.
Every time someone says the word map, like it's instantly in my brain forever. And like I don't have kids, and I was not a child when that show was on.
Same, but I also always think when someone says like the male's here, I always hear the Blues Clues song. So I get it.
I have 2 younger brothers, and Robert, when he was that age, he used to love Blue's Clues. So I can still sing the entire song. Like the song. It's permanently.
They're bringing it back. Blue's Clues back, and I think the regular guy is coming back.
Really?
Yeah, I think I saw something about that.
Not the original.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Is he really though? Conspiracy. Anyway.
I have a thing to say about Preptober.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Although I'm not doing it this year, I have done it in a previous year. Janice Hardy, who runs the site Fiction University, she does a thing where there's like an article for every day of October, and it will workshop a specific thing that you might want to work on in the order as well, going from like biggest things to smallest details, so that it leaves you on November 1st being kind of ready to go.
Oh, nice.
And I really enjoyed that the year I did do it,
That's
which
really
was
cool.
2017.
Who was that?
Janice Hardy.
I remember you mentioning her before. Like, I have the book because of you for the Fiction University thing.
Yes. Yeah. Same person. Yeah. Because what she does is a Preptober thing, like article every month of October. And then in March, she does an article every month of revising your novel. Now, the revising your novel one, the problem is that me personally, I can't revise a novel in a month. I need longer than that. So it will be like for one day, it will be like fix your character arcs, and I'll be like in a day. But the Preptober one, it's more like you can actually follow it through every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Mm-hmm. I have like a whole step plan I'm going to attempt to follow for Preptober, since I feel like I never really try it. I'm always like, I'm totally gonna prep, and I do like 2 things, and I'm like, yes, I'm ready. So this time, I'm really gonna go for it.
Is it like someone else's methodology, or just stuff you've assembled?
No, it's just like some random stuff that I'm like, this would be helpful. Like, I'm gonna have an actual timeline and like a chapter by chapter sort of outline. I'm gonna try and make a map. I'm thinking of maps. I think I'm just gonna do everything and see how it goes, kind of thing. So
Nice.
I read Save the Cat Writes a Novel in the middle of writing my last book, so I'm gonna attempt to plot a book using it, like from the very beginning. So I'm gonna see how that goes, and because I already have like an idea, like a lot of ideas for the premise and the plot and stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of use the month to kind of go through Save the Cat and try to plot out all the beats for it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm going to be outlining like crazy. So I'm with you on that. I haven't. I guess I'm stubborn in the sense that I have my own way that I've been outlining. So it's like, I can't even like look at other outlining books anymore. Because I think I did like back in the day, like with screenplays and stuff. I always read like formatting books and like, okay, just to really like dive in and that thing. And so I kind of have like in my head the way I can. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like I have it structured in a certain way, and I almost kind of map out my books like screenplays. Like I figure out each act, and then I figure out how many chapters I want, and then I sort of divide the chapters the way the length would be, like if it's 24 chapters, the first 6 chapters would be Act 1, and then the next 12 chapters would be Act 2, and then the last 6 chapters are Act 3. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm a little over structured, I think sometimes. Like I go a little overboard when it comes to structure, but obviously I can change things if I need to, but initially.
I've always been so fascinated by your process, because I know you've said that before, and I always think it's so interesting, because I don't think my chapters are like uniform at all.
Right.
And I hear you being like, well, I know this is going to be X number of words.
It's just, I think that's just that was so fascinating about different writers, is everyone just has like their own process and the way things, and that's just the way my mind works, is like, okay, every chapter is going to be roughly like 3,000 to 4,000 words long. Boom.
Yeah, I do that.
And then they naturally end up that way, because it's like my brain is already working towards that like I can kind of feel it when it's around that word count kind of thing.
Yeah.
I always find it fascinating that everyone's so different, but in my brain I don't know how to do it any other way. So
because I mean I've read Riser and I know that those were kind of the same.
right? Wrong, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because yeah, I know they were by the thing, but it didn't ever feel long. And I remember you telling me what the word count was at the end of it, and I was like, I flew through that book. Like, it did not feel as many words.
What was the word count for Riser?
It was a little over 100,000.
Okay.
It's like the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same as your book, Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I read it, I thought it felt the same length as
Mhm.
mine, except it's written so differently.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's 7 days or whatever, mine's a year.
yeah, it was like, I was gonna say, like, that the reason why it was such a different format was just because it was like each chapter was a full 24 hours. So it was like, that's why they were roughly about 9,000 to 11,000 words each. So
When I first started reading, I was like, oh god, these are so long. But then as I got into it, I was like, they need to be this long. I really enjoyed it because like I read because like Jenna Moressi's Savior's Champion is super long chapters, and I had to put it down because like they were really overly described chapters, and I was like, I want to keep reading because I'm not getting as far, but they were so long. I'm like, I can't just read it in between writing or whatever. Like it was just a task, and you couldn't really stop in between because the chapters were pretty much a whole big scene. So you need to read the whole thing, but then it was like exhausting after it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a choice. I mean, it's like I mean, Riser was sort of an exception because it was my first, and then I kind of after I published it, I kind of had to stick with the format, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, just these 3 books. You know, there's 7 chapters each, and it's just that's the way it's going to be. And then but I'm really weirdly insane about structure and format, stuff like that, because I don't know if you guys I know you haven't read the other books, but like every chapter 5 in all 3 books, she's always like you know, in the first book it's like the serial killer chapter. It's like every chapter 5 she's like isolated, like, and so I always make it like that. It's almost like those chapters could be like their own short story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do that in all 3 books. So chapter 5's always like that chapter. So it's just, you know, like I said, it's everyone has their own thing, and I'm, you know.
But that's what makes it so fun.
That's what makes it fun. I know. That's what I find so fascinating.
I definitely, when I outline every character story individually, and then I put them all together.
Yeah.
And then once I can see that they've got some kind of arc happening, I'll then put it into chapters. But the worst thing about the Brittany and Charlie books is that I can never really see what's happening if I don't write both point of views sort of at the same time. So I'll have, say, 40 chapters in when I'm writing the first draft, but then like this book has gotten down to 32 chapters, so I'll end up putting chapters together, but then it's easier because I know what's happening in the other chapters. So yeah, these books have been the worst to edit because I had like a couple of chapters that were like only 1,000 words, and I was like, well, that's not going to fly, and I sort of put a whole heap of chapters together.
I feel like when you have multiple point of views, I don't know that I ever found it. Well, sometimes it's hard to write, but also I feel like the editing it back is really where it gets difficult because they all have to make sense. They all have to go together. And then,
so with the new series that I'm currently outlining, it's multiple point of views, except it's not like Brittany and Charlie where, because they're sisters living in the same house and stuff, they have to sort of go together. But this one is kind of like there's all separate people, but if you change the point of view, it still moves the story forward, and you can go back to someone else and it hasn't really affected them. So I can see it already being a lot easier. I'm hoping anyway. I always say these things, this will be so much easier. And like my Nano vlogs last year, it's like, this is so great. I know my characters so well, and I'm reading it like, no, you don't.
Becca, I forgot with this series. So I know that you already have one girl mostly written.
Yeah.
Were you planning on combining them all into one book again, or were you still?
Yeah, because I axed one of the characters. So it was going to be 4, but now it's going to be 3. So I feel like now it's a more reasonable because I feel like now I can probably get it to about 100,000 words, maybe a little over that. Because before with 4 girls, there's just no way that would happen. It would be like 120 to 150, and there's not much I could do about that. But yeah, but see, that's the thing, is that's the problem that I was having, Emily. So it isn't easier.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it sucks.
Well, the only thing I can think is different, because your book sounds like the 3 girls are equally main characters. Would that be correct?
They are, and they are in different locations in this first book.
So this is more, I have one main character.
Okay.
And then I have everyone else's point of views. And so they'll be like, say, her love interest, you'll get his point of view before you even really meet him. And then when she meets more people, it can kind of switch. But like there's some more minor character, you'll get like one of his chapters just to sort of show more backstory of him. But that's kind of it. It's different. It's very different too.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not really like, not everyone has their whole big story. Like everyone has their own story, but it's not like you're following everyone. You're more following this main girl story and rooting for her sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely new for me too, for the way I'm doing it, because I mean, I'm writing them as almost like three separate like books.
Yeah, this is definitely not like that,
and then I'm gonna put them, but I'm still gonna divide them up, like, so that when I'm done with those 3, so like my outline looks really weird. Like it's like the first, I have 3 different outlines. I have one for each girl. And then like the first girl, like it's chapter 1, 3, 7, you know what I mean? Like, so it's weird. Like they look weird. And then the next girl is like 2, 8, you know, whatever. So it's like I'm visually seeing that they're going to be mixed up, but I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, so this series is going to be 6 books, and each book has a different main character, but all the stories go together, and like the characters from book 1 will be in like all the books, but then sometimes they won't be in like, say, book 4 or something.
Yeah.
And so then I was outlining book 2, and then I thought, I should outline book 5 to make sure this makes sense. And so I've been flipping back and forth. So I have bits of everything. So I'm excited about Preptober for that, because it's going to be really fun to sort of do that, because especially like with In a Mirror, I tried to make it 1 book, and then it was going to be 2 books, and then I hated the way that book 2 was going to end. So I'm like, let's make book 3 to make it happier.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always like add-ons and stuff, whereas this one I'm going to be as technical and thorough as I can before starting, but I always forget something.
I know, that's the thing. I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do this year too, is just to try to be as thorough as possible.
That's why I don't even care if I'm going to count outlining during NaNoWriMo, like, because I'm going to have a high word count outline anyway, so I might just outline 6 books as my thing.
Yes. Just outline 6 books. My books I don't do chapters until the book is done. So like,
so you have a whole
so my first book that I wrote, which is shelved right now, I just wrote it. And then after it was all completely done, I went through and made chapters where they felt like they should end. And then the one I'm working on now, in my Scrivener, I have them broken up by the beats. So like my fun and games is just like a super, super long section. And then some of them are really short. And so I just feel like then I'll compile them, read it all through, and then just kind of where it feels natural to break chapters. So I don't really think in terms of chapters. So
that's interesting.
Mine is more like I think in terms of scenes and I write in terms of scenes. And I have a Scrivener document where each file thing within it is a scene, and then I have to work out how to group them together when I have written it and put them into chapters.
Oh my god, that would confuse me so much. I would like go. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do that. That's crazy. That's so cool though. It makes sense.
Yeah, like part of it was I took a writing class with Francesca Leah Block, so she wrote like the Weetsy Bat books. But that was something that she like taught us in the class, was like, you basically, like, not that people are doing it, but you don't want your chapters to be really arbitrary, and you want them to end on like tension, and you want them to end where someone needs to turn the next page. So I feel like I don't really know what that is until the scenes are done. like where those breaks are going to be, especially because I change, like all of my revisions are always like big overhauls because I kind of write in layers and I think of new ideas and new threads. And so I don't know how these scenes are going to end and where that tension is always going to be until it's done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I have a real tension at the moment because I've just, with my current novel, I have decided where the chapters are and I'm going in the middle of a draft at the moment. But there's a tension now because I'm changing chapters when the point of view changes, but I'm deciding where the point of view changes based on what's going to make a good chapter end and good chapter beginning. So it's like a tussle between where the point of view would just naturally end, but also what's a good hook to end on. And
so do you find that most of your time in terms of writing is done editing then because of that? Like that you edit more than you draft because you have to think through all these things so much?
Yeah. I mean, personally, I love planning, I love editing, and I hate drafting. So my process is as much as possible to avoid drafting anyway and to like front load all of my effort into the other two areas.
Yeah.
That's just how I work.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like my editing or revising and drafting are the same. Like my first draft is the only time where it's like I'm not also fixing stuff.
Right.
But I feel like every like pass through, I'm making big changes. Like it's only like the very end that it's just like small stuff. So like I don't have, because I am a plotter, but I think like I'm really indecisive and I come up with new ideas in the middle of doing stuff. And then I'm like, oh wait, this would make it so much better. So I have to go back through. And so like right now, that's why my revisions right now are taking so long, because I'm adding whole new scenes in. I added a whole new character in, and this is like the third version already. That's why I call them versions and not drafts, because it's like, it's a completely, so what I do is I copy paste from this version into the next, and then I add in or take out whatever I want. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing I'm calling it revisions for my NaNoWriMo, but I'm doing quite big changes. I mean, as I mentioned in our group chat, it's going to change from an adult novel to a young adult novel, which is changing some of the plot points. It's changing all of the tone of everyone's voice.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of thinking I can just track my words because I'm literally going to start a new document and write from scratch. It's just that I know a little bit more about the story.
Yes, yeah. That's so fascinating to me. I think for me, like, I think the thing that takes me the longest is my outlining. And maybe that's because I kind of like what you were talking about, like what you guys are talking about, like Laura, when you're saying like that, you know, that comes to you and then you add it to it. Like I do that same thing, but I do that during my outlining. Like
I'm hoping that's what's going to happen this time with, because now I have at least some more like of a structure, like at least because before it wasn't that, and that's why I think the structure and all this stuff had to come later. I'm really hoping that this plotting in October is going to be the bulk of all that, so that I'm not changing huge things and having to fix it.
Because I do that too. That's what I was saying. Is I relate to that. I do that too, but I do that in the outlining process. So like I outline a bit, and then I have a couple days where I'm percolating and kind of thinking about it. Like, oh wait, no, this will be much better. Okay, I got to do that, and then I think about it more. Like, oh no, what was I thinking? I got to do that, and like, so I kind of go through all of the like. I mean, I still make changes as I write. I mean, no one I think outlines because sometimes when you're in it, your characters, like we were talking about before, they're like, you're like, what is happening right now?
I just think that my outlines weren't thorough enough before, and so I'm really trying to work all of those things out now in the plotting process, so that I don't have, because it's like annoying at the same time. Like I love that I get new ideas, but I'm like, I have to go back and like rewrite like 9 or 10 scenes now because I come up with this new idea for something.
It's so painful.
You want to talk about like crazy, painful rewrites? Let's talk about my fantasy story that I started writing. I was in college, so 2006, 2007, somewhere around in there. And think about the way like a 2007 book reads versus a 2019 book reads.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there's so much going on, like difference in the world, difference in what people want out of a book. And so this most recent editing that I did, I was like, okay, in 2005, this book would have been amazing. In 2019, I'm going to get dragged so bad from everyone who reads it. So I am having to like revamp the entire world itself, characters, the way society is. I mean, basically the story's the same, but the entire world building, all of the society, a lot of the characters, everything had to change. So that's what I'm working on now. And if you want to talk about something that is pain in the butt, completely and totally devastating, but I think it's going to make the story a lot better. It's just really hard to do.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Can I throw out a question I see Che has, that they addressed Phoebe, but since I know Becca contemplated this as well, but it asks, how did you decide you needed to change your target audience? I'm having some trouble now trying to decide that myself.
For me, that was a really, I came to that decision from a really, really weird angle, because I wrote my NaNoWriMo. This is what I'm going to be revising, this NaNoWriMo. I wrote it last year as a first draft. I wrote it for myself thinking it would never get published. So I wrote it as a adult romance heavy thing. And then this year I wrote something set in the same universe. I'm not going to say a sequel. I wrote something set in the same universe where one of the main characters is the daughter of the characters from the previous thing, but it was young adult. And I thought I would actually get it published, hopefully. Well, that's what I'm working towards. And then I decided that this thing that I'd written for myself, that it actually did fit into that universe and that I would like to publish it as a prequel if that was possible. And I thought that makes no sense to have an adult prequel to a young adult series. And then I realized it could work as a young adult novel, but I'd have to change things, which is quite a probably unique situation. So that doesn't help you at all. People talk now.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't know if I've ever, I mean, it's not that I've never changed to a target audience, but I have had trouble figuring out what my target audience is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think my brain is still entrenched in television. And so, yeah, because I was talking to you guys about this in the chat, was that like an idea that I had that was a television show. It was basically, it's an action dramedy. So where the frick does that come in with books? What is an action dramedy? It's easy in TV. You know, Breaking Bad, you know, you're like, all these other things, you know, like, okay, it's easy. You know, you're like, oh, I can name 10 shows that are action dramedies. But what category is that in books?
There isn't one.
So with my new series, I don't even know what category it is, because I was going to try and do young adult because I felt that would be an easy way to go. But then I realized the main character in the first book can't be 18, she should be 21. And so then I was like, that's new adult, but new adult doesn't really exist. And then as the books go on, you have different main characters, and some of them are 15 or 16. So like, then that's young adult. So you can put the different books in different genres, but then as a series, I don't know.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
And actually, I forgot to say that the thing that I said I was converting to adult to young adult, I actually thought of in my head as new adult when I wrote it. But that doesn't really, for sci-fi, isn't really a thing. So
no, I just had to put in a mirror in genres, and I'm like, what the hell? It's so many to pick from. I'm like, well, it has this in it, but that's not the whole book. And like, oh, it was so hard.
I will say, like, in traditional publishing, though, there is a big push right now to kind of revamp new adult. And a lot of, I mean, they're still like being called young adult, but that age range is being pushed. And there's a lot of call for it. So by agents, by editors, but it's really just the market.
It is still young adult, I would think.
Yeah, like, because like for example, Christine, you know, Riccio, her book was billed as a YA. In fact, it was Barnes and Noble's first YA book club pick, and it takes place in college.
Yeah.
And then from college to adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and she's just one example that I think a lot of us like know, but there's several of those that I've seen out or that have been bought recently.
The example that always amuses me is Sarah J. Maas. I got one of her books. They're all like supposedly young adult, and yet it literally had a warning on the back that said mature content, like not for
She didn't write
children.
them as young
But it's
adult.
a young
That
adult
was
book.
Yeah, that was a choice because she talked about that at a thing that I went to once where none of them were written as young adult, but at that time that she was like trying to sell them, those kinds of books were not selling in adult, and so they just had her technically age down, like Selena from the Throne of Glass, you know, like she wasn't that young. And then what happens is once someone is that big in young adult, they'll just put all the rest of their stuff under that. Like I think that's why Christine's also was billed as YA, was just because that's her audience. So there, I just thought it was so weird.
Sarah J. Maas is now doing an adult series, isn't she? The Prison, is it Prison
at that level where it's like now they know she can
do whatever she wants now.
But they needed her. They thought that it would work better at the time. So
I just need the age ranges. So, like when you go on Ingram Spark and you put your books in as young adult and they say age range, it's only up to 18. And it's like, well, if I want people above 18 to read it, I can't put it in that category. Yeah.
That's really weird.
Some sellers will put the age range, some won't. And
we've discussed this before in chat, or at least I have, that I wish that they would start rating books the way they do TV and movies. Because when you're, or video games, like when you're buying a video game or a television show, it says the suggested youngest age for a viewer, not you should be between this age and this age to enjoy this. It's the suggested youngest age for a viewer, or whether it's, you know, G is general for anybody, or PG is there should be some parental guidance, or PG-13 is if they're under the age of 13 there should be parental guidance. Like, why can't they just make it that way versus, well, YA is 13 to 17. First off, a 13-year-old is not a young adult. A 13-year-old is a teenager, not a young adult. Young adult to me, and this is why, like when I was a teenager, I thought that YA was older books, because I thought, well, when you're an adult, you're 18. So young adult must be like 18 to 21.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's
why when I heard new adult, I'm like, well, isn't that young adult? Like it gets really confusing.
Yeah, and I think it's really I think you're right, Jessica, because it's really arbitrary to put numbers. It has more to do with the types of stories or content, because I have never read in my age range. Like I was in the 2nd grade reading Babysitter's Club, not Babysitter's Little Sister. You know, I actually read those when I ran out of Babysitter's Club and I was waiting for the next one to come out. So I was like, oh, we're going to, you know, then I'll go to these little kid books. I thought, you know what I mean? Even though those were my age range, I was reading about 14-year-olds, you know? So it's like, and then when I was in high school, I was reading Armistead Maupin and things like that, which are all like adult love stories and things like that. So it's just like, people aren't really always necessarily reading their own age. It more has to do with what kinds of stories are being told. So it definitely needs a different kind of rating. I would agree.
The system is supposed to be set up so that YA versus adult is supposed to be separate topics. Part of the issue is society as a whole, because you talked 20 years ago, and in society, typically as a female, by the age of 21, 22, you were married and you had children. And now women are waiting later in life to have children. Yeah. So they need something for that age bracket, or not at all.
Yeah, just say it.
There's 3 people in this chat over 30 that don't have children. But like there are people in that age bracket that want stories that involve new romances, finding a job, things like that aren't centered around getting married, having children, being a soccer mom, whatever the case may be. And there's not a specific part in, like, you don't know what you're getting when you get a book, because there isn't an age bracket for that. To be fair, I think part of the reason why they do what they do and why Sarah J. Maas ended up as a young adult versus an adult is for the same reason that Harry Potter books were sold as J.K. Rowling and not Joanne Rowling. And that is because they don't think men will buy an adult book with a female main character. Men will not buy adult books, not all of them. I don't mean to generalize, but typically men who read adult fantasy will not read a female-led character, which is the main reason why I had to age down my fantasy story as well to make it a young adult. Because women will read young adult, they don't care if it's got a female character, a main character, whatever. If they like the premise, they'll read it. But Sarah J. Maas would never have sold Throne of Glass as an adult story. It would not have happened.
But I do think that's changing a little bit generationally. Like, I think younger generations don't care as much about those types of things. So I think we'll definitely changes in that going forward. But you're right, like traditionally, for sure, because that was like a big issue that I had, like when I taught. It was like picking, like I would make my students pick a book from a list that I gave them to choose from, like in addition to like their stuff for class, like in the textbook. And a lot of them would be like for Hunger Games, for example, was one I had them read. And a lot of the boys, and these were freshmen in college, told me that they loved the book and they didn't read it because it had a girl main character and they thought it was just going to be some sappy like girl book, but that they loved it. It's like that idea is sort of perpetuated that women are only writing about women things and that men can't relate to that. But I do think that's changing. I do think that's moving.
It is changing in some sense, but I really wish they would just like the publishing industry as a whole would overhaul the entire thing. That's probably not going to happen until the publishing industry isn't run by a bunch of like 90-year-old white dudes.
Yes.
But at some point they all have to die off and we have to like start over.
I feel like that for a lot of things, right? And it's actually my father-in-law is 74. And like he gets really like, and we live in North Carolina, so like most people he knows that my father-in-law is not very conservative, but a lot of people he knows. And whenever we sort of complain about some things, he's like, I hate to say it, but you just gotta wait till we die off. Not him, but like his generation. He was like, you're not gonna change a 7-year-old man's mind about how he feels about things. For most people, you're just gonna have to wait till us. He's like, you kids will have to change things once we get out of here. So it's just this idea that like in some cases you just have to wait till the younger generations are more in charge of things. So
of course, then again, do we want the younger generations in charge of things? Have you guys met my niece?
This is a good time though to shape and push in the right direction.
I can't. There's nothing I can do with her. I'm free to a good home. 12-year-old free to a good home. Oh, that was a lot. That was a lot of me ranting about the publishing industry, which is ridiculous because I think as a whole, the publishing industry is moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think that they are doing what they need to do. As a panel of 6 white women sitting here, I think they are doing what they need to do and publishing more minorities and publishing more interesting stories that don't necessarily follow just like our basic life, but they could do better.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion. I have a very strong opinion about it. Okay. Gosh. I haven't been reading the comments because I've been reading.
Yeah, I do want to say something like this. So a lot of people, this is a tangent of mine, a little rant, but I always hear people like say, well, like that's why I don't make my main characters have a love interest, or blah, 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 as if like that's sort of like, why can't men read stories about romance and love? Like, what's the problem with that too? Like, I understand that like not all stories need to have love stories, but the idea is that men shouldn't be reading or wouldn't be interested in. And I really feel like I didn't need to be careful what I say here, but we would not have so many issues with certain types of men if they were more in tune with things like love and romance and empathy and the kinds of things that are considered girl topics in books. So, and just in a more general sense, like I feel like a big problem in the world is that we are less empathetic to each other, and that's because we don't read enough. Because how else can you learn from other people's perspectives and other people's experiences? The best way to do that is to read, to put yourself literally in someone else's head, in someone else's life to understand. So like the idea is that like it annoys me that boys think that all girl stories are about love, but then it also annoys me that boys think that they can't read books or ingest stories where the focus is love, as if that's only a preoccupation with women, right, and that men don't need to read that kind of stuff, right? That they shouldn't be in touch with those kinds of things. So
that's the thing. The female roles, especially in young adult fiction, have become increasingly like, the girls can do whatever a guy could do, and they're doing all the action, they're doing all the assassination and stuff, whatever. But the implicit assumption is that when a girl reads something that's blokish, or that when a female character does something that's blokish, that she's elevating herself.
Right.
And that if a man reads something that's feminine or does something that's feminine, that he's going in the opposite direction. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. I mean, it's something that in my classes that I used to have my students read a lot about, and I always told this story once. It is so horrible, you guys. When I was in an undergrad, I worked at a video rental store. You know, those things don't exist anymore. Okay, but I was living my best life. It was like the coolest job ever, you know, at a video rental store. And I had the same customer that would come in every Wednesday because I didn't have any classes Wednesday morning. So I opened the store, and she would always bring her kids in because she was a stay-at-home mom. And one day she came in and she just had her daughter, and her son wasn't around. And I was like, "Where's your son?" And she's like, "Oh, she didn't realize he hadn't come in, and he was hiding by the front entrance." And she like was yelling at him to come in because he wouldn't come in. And when he came in the door, he was wearing a dress. And she was like, "Go up there and tell Miss Laura why you're wearing a dress." And I was like, "No, please don't. I don't know where this is going." And I was like, no. So she's like, "No, go up there." And she like pushed him, and he said, "Because I was talking too much in class. And so this is my punishment." He was about 4, 5. And so his mom, she said, "That's right. If you're going to act like a girl, then you're going to act like a girl." And so she thought she was really proud of herself. She thought this was like an innovative parenting decision that she was making so she said, "So we're going to run all of our errands today, and he's going to wear a dress the whole day." So the idea was like public embarrassment, number one. And then number 2, that somehow being like a girl or being feminine is a punishment, and it's something negative. And I'm just thinking, that poor boy, I don't know.
I can't handle any of that from anyone's point of view.
Like,
I can't.
You know, and I'm just sitting there like, I wanted to like scoop the little boy out and just like run away to the circus or something and raise him myself. It was like the most horrifying thing, and I just didn't even know. Like, and that's the kind of like mentality, is that when a boy does anything, like it's like you said, Phoebe, like if a girl's doing that, it's elevating herself. But if a boy is doing anything that's considered feminine or like girl-like, it is somehow less than or lower. And to see like a mom punishing her child by making him be like a girl, like being a girl is a punishment, I was like, oh. It was like, that haunts my nightmares. Like,
I'm not gonna forget that.
Yeah.
God.
So
I can't. I would have just been like, and your point is what?
he was like, and it was so bad because he was mortified, and like and she was like purposefully like parading him around and making him tell people why he was wearing it. And aside from the whole gender thing, like public humiliation, it's never a good.
Yeah.
I know I don't have any children, but I think I feel safe going on the record as saying not a good way to parent.
The only time I'm okay with like public humiliation is like, you know, when the girl's wearing the short shorts with her underwear hanging out, so dad picks her up from school wearing short shorts with his boxer shorts hanging out. Like, that I think is funny because the parent is also taking in some of the humiliation.
Yeah.
Like, those I'm okay with, but like when you're purposefully going out of your way to like sound like you're better than your child and that they are being punished, like,
Oh my God.
I am the person that when I drop Danica off at school in the mornings, she will like reach over and turn my radio down because for some reason listening to the rock station is not cool. I don't know. And like, she doesn't want her friends to hear my music when she gets out of the car. So I wait until she gets, I like did a really good one the other day. I like had preset Marvin Gaye, like Let's Get It On in the thing. And she got like 2 steps away from the thing. I hit the button to get the window to go down and cranked it up and just sat there. Her face was so red. And she just like turned around and bolted and ran away. And I was like, how about my rock music now? Is it that bad? So now that's my daily goal is to like just every day, just like the most random, embarrassing song.
Yeah, I think there's like a difference between embarrassment and humiliation, right? Mm-hmm. Like, to be like a little embarrassing, like my grandma picked me up from like a sock shop or whatever once in her pajamas. Like, that was embarrassing, but she wasn't humiliating me. Like, it wasn't humiliation. Like, that's like, I feel like that's on a totally different level, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just funny. It's like it's bad enough that like it's not just her. Like, I also pick up her friend and take her as well. So it's these 2 girls that I'm dropping off at school, and like as they're getting out of the car every day, I say, have a fun day, make good choices, really loud, because I want their friends to know that they need to be making good choices also. Everybody should make some good choices as a 12-year-old. I feel like that's great.
I feel like someone could shout that at me still.
Right. I still need that reminder.
Oh, it's fine. She needs it. She needs some tough love. I mean, if anybody's spent more than 5 minutes with her, they know that she needs some tough love.
Sorry, my dogs are whining in the background, so I keep trying to mute it and trying to get my husband to take the dog.
I'm texting my mom right now because Ruby's outside my door.
Yeah, Halgor's like whining. I'm like, go away.
It's fine. I had one out there whining earlier, and I texted mom and was like, "There's a dog whining outside my door. Please take care of it." Now it's Ruby's outside.
That's better than the barking.
Oh, it's fine. There was a question earlier that I lost, but I'll never remember who actually said it. But someone asked, besides the story idea, what is the one thing that you need going into November for your story?
Outline.
Yeah.
I think you need a game plan for
your story.
I think you need a game plan not just for what you're creating, but when and how you're creating it. Like, what actual time slots do you have available in your life? How much can you do with them? That sort of thing, like planning your life as well as planning the story itself.
That's what I never do.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, I like to just see like what big things I have happening that month, so that I can make sure that I'm doing extra around those days. Like I'm going to Y'all Fest in Charleston at the beginning of November. So I need to make sure like I know I'm going to be out of town for a couple of days. So I need to write better, like, around those. So.
They have some people that set up calendars that you can download so that rather than like doing the same amount of words each day, they'll kind of front load it. So they start with
love those.
5,000 and then trickle down. That way you're writing less around like if you're American Thanksgiving, closer to the holidays.
Right.
If you're the type of person who has a bunch of motivation early on, it's perfect for you because you're gonna like breeze through and it kind of
I do that.
accountable. Yeah. So I like.
I might try and use one of those this year.
Yeah, I think I might do
just
that.
Because I always end up doing the opposite thing, where I write slowly and then have to rush. So I feel it would be like character building to do the opposite.
Yeah.
I do everything in my life. It's like everything at the last minute. The one time I made the 50K in April, I did the last 10,000 on the last day.
Yeah.
I gotta get it done. So
yeah, it would be nice not to feel like the last 3 or 4 days, because it always is when there's only 3 or 4 days left that I'm like, I should just write 10,000 words today and be done. But if I start off high, then it's like, oh, I only have like 500 today, and I can maybe finish at like a more reasonable.
Yeah, I feel like I need to do that because if I'm going to finish my goal, which is to actually finish the draft, then I have to do 70 to 80K. So if I front load it, I think that'll be much better.
That's my thing too. I know I need to, part of my prep's rereading Project Death and seeing how much of the 40,000 words I have are like actually usable. Right. And then I'll figure out. So I'm keeping, the Nano's goal, but then my goal might be, it could be 75,000 new words. It could be maybe all 40 are magically perfect words. And I only need, 20 more. I don't know. So
yeah.
I think my only prep for the entire thing is just going to be reading over the 2 stories to see where I was at, and that's it. That's my prep.
Do you outline, Jess?
2 of the 3 books that I have that I've started are outlined. The Witch Boarding School is not outlined at all because I was doing that as that was my fan fiction experiment where I wrote fan fiction in high school where I would literally.
Did that work well? I feel like I didn't catch the end of that.
Because Melissa went to the hospital and there was no end of that. I decided that I'm going to continue to do it that way and not outline it and then do a larger update later on. I was trying to talk and think at the same time and it was not working out for me very well. Let me look and see if I can find out where I ended up at for the month. I don't think it was great. But it was 21,000 words.
Yeah.
Which for me is really good. For the month. I don't know how much of it is usable versus not usable.
But was it enjoyable, like just writing?
Yeah, I like it a lot
that?
better. I like not being stressed out. I feel like when I have an outline, I feel like I have to stick to the outline, and I don't always want to do that. So having just a basic idea of like the world and the plot moving forward is great. Like, I know that the story centers around a witch boarding school. I know that the main character has anxiety and has a hard time connecting with people, has social anxiety, and that there's like a cataclysmic event that triggers to where she has to stand up for herself. Like, she's being wrongfully accused of something that's going to get her expelled from her school, where she'll never be able to practice magic. And she has to learn to stand up for herself in order to prove that she was innocent and stay in school, basically. But other than that, I know nothing going in. So it's a fun time. I'm enjoying it. I ended on like a fire. Like, there's a fire burning down the entire dorm room section, and like they're trying to escape. And that was where I ended at the end of July, and haven't touched it since. So at least when I go back, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
High energy levels at that part. See what happens.
Hero Song says they once won on the 10th. That's amazing.
50K for me is unattainable in a month. I've never been able to do it. And I don't know if it's just because of like my work ethic or life. One of the two. I don't know which one. Possibly both.
That's what I have a friend that I can't really get him to participate because he writes slowly, but like even though it takes him a while, his like once he finishes the draft, it's like a fairly solid draft. So I mean, I think some people just write differently.
Yeah.
You know, they can't NaNoWriMo ever, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be like, not everyone needs to write 50,000 words a month.
But if you're not writing 20 stories a year and selling them automatically, like, how are you even a writer?
I feel like for me, and this is the same reason why I'm a PhD dropout, because I have a really hard time like just doing one thing. So like, even though I love writing, I also love watching movies. I love like doing, you know what I mean? Like so it's maybe like a lack of discipline, but I'm just not the kind of person who can devote all of my time to one thing. And even as much as I love writing, and it's always been something like, it's something I'm actively trying to work more towards because it's important, you know, obviously, but it's just like, to me, like doing other things are equally important for my mental wellness. Like, that I enjoy doing things with my family or whatever. Not saying that you guys don't enjoy spending time with your family. I'm just saying, like,
I don't like them.
It's just hard to like, especially because I have a full-time job and like things like that. I have very little time. So I have, you know, maybe 3 to 4 hours a day. And I cannot devote every day 3 to 4 hours to that and then not do other things. It just doesn't work for me personally. So that's the reason. And I've always struggled with that with anything I try to do. And that's why it's taken me so long to really even be able to prioritize. I mean, it's one of the reasons, you know, that I left graduate school when I was working on my PhD, because when you get a PhD in something, you are in one lane forever. Like, that's your thing and that's what you have to do. And I just couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't pick an area that I only wanted to read and write about forever. And then all that writing made me unable to do fiction writing. And so it's just like, I feel like all of these things are important to me. And when I try to like only prioritize one thing, then it's not good for my mental health. And so as much as I love writing, I just can't. And that's why Nano is always really hard for me too, because I can do it like maybe 3 or 4 days in a row, but then it's like, okay, but now I have these other things that I also enjoy doing and I have to do that, or I feel I just get like spent really quickly on certain things. So I feel like I just go at my own pace, and I try to do, at least for the Nano month. That's why I really want to do something for like new for Nano, because it's harder for me to devote all my time to one thing when there's not like a big event around it, you know? Like, if I don't fast draft the second project, it'll take me like 6 months to draft it otherwise. So
how about a very fun question? Because we're all discussing all of the projects that we're going to be working on and getting things done. Is anyone planning a 10-day writing day or a 12-hour write-a-thon, or are we all like, I'm out?
Yeah, I'm not doing any of those.
I just haven't looked that far ahead.
I know that there has been some discussion in the Discord from our camp group of doing another sprint relay day.
Yeah.
So like a 12-hour.
That'd be good.
I missed out on that one.
And I think those are really good because it's 12 hours and you can jump in whenever you have time.
Right, you're not doing the 12 hours.
We're not doing the 12 hours. And even people who aren't creators, who are just viewers, if they, say they have like an hour in the morning and then they have to go to their work day and then they have an hour in the evening and they jump on and write with people. I think that is a good way to do it. Yeah. But I don't know that I'll do any 10K days. I mean, this is coming from a girl who in July was like, I'm going to do daily live sprints. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But
that would have been taxing, though, to do just if everything was perfect in your life, it'd still be a lot.
Yeah, even if everything was perfect, it would still be difficult. But the thing is that this Nano was supposed to be my experiment of only writing during live streams.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know that it's...
Well, you can leave that for April.
I probably am going to leave it until... if things start going better in the next month around here, then I'll do it. But I think I'm going to save it for a camp. Yeah. I've been waiting for it for like this Nano to roll around to do it because I wanted to see... I mean, I guess it would be good to do both, to see the difference in how many live write-ins there are during a camp versus during a Nano month. Because not everybody does camp, and I feel like more people do regular nanos than do camp.
It would have been pretty good to do it, but yeah.
But I just don't think it's going to be possible to do. I don't think I'll get enough done doing it, which I'm not going to do a lot.
It's a big commitment, and I don't think you're at this stage right now. No.
I don't think it's going to happen. So, especially like when not knowing what's going on and how things are going to end up, it's kind of hard to commit to anything in the future.
Just take it one day at a time. Yeah,
it's real hard. I mean, it's hard to plan videos. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I can't do anything right now, so it's just floundering very gracefully over here. Gracefully, kind of.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous because my husband is actually gonna have surgery soon. We're still working on scheduling it. He tore his rotator cuff, and so I don't know at what stage of recovery he's going to be at the beginning of Nano. So like, and it's like his right arm, which is like his main arm. So it's like, he's not gonna be able to do a lot. Like, I'm gonna have to be doing a lot of things, and helping take care of him. And so it's just like, I'm just trying to, not over plan too much because, and my mother-in-law just got out of the hospital. So like, we're helping out with her too. So yeah, I totally get that. Like, you just got to take it one day at a time. You can have like, general, like, I'd like to do this thing and I could probably do this, but life sometimes doesn't let you go further than that. So
I know that the last week of October is when she's supposed to start chemo. So like straight going into November.
Yeah.
Is going to be like, well, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how she's going to react to it. You don't know anything. So it's just like not planning anything right now at all. I am kind of able to like we planned this, but we planned it like Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm able to plan like 4 or 5 days in advance.
I feel like that's good for everyone too, because at least you know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because you can't plan your life around a live stream, but you can plan the live stream around your life.
You can plan your life around a live stream. I mean, I don't have a lot. Like when I didn't have a child and a sister to take care of, I was able to plan my life around a live stream. But I can't really do that right now. So it's fine. Motto of my life. It's fine. has to be fine, so it's going to be fun. Is anyone planning on doing other types of live sprints during November? Or is
I think I would like to do weekly ones, but at the moment I don't have anything planned, and I'm not really sure when I would do them. But I was thinking like either weekly or twice a week, depending. I feel like maybe if it was, well, for me, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I felt like getting on the internet, I would do it.
I'm similar. I think I might do it. I mean, I'm considering kind of taking what you were talking about, Jessica, about doing it every day, but I wouldn't do it for 2 hours. Like, I'm thinking I would just do it like every day at 9 a.m. for an hour, and that's it. You know what I mean? So I might do something like that because I'm going to be doing daily vlogs. So I might have that, and then I probably wouldn't have to do as many vlogs, you know. So I don't know. I'm still debating, but I kind of like the idea of every day at the same time for like an hour, just, you know, and then just hopping on and seeing if anybody wants to join me, kind of thing.
I would love to participate in something like that. Like if I knew, not just even people I knew, but just a random person, if I knew they were gonna have daily live streams at a time I could attend, I would be on there every day. So
yeah, ditto.
I think it would be really helpful for me. And I think my plan's just because I'm going to do the daily vlogs, but I think I'm going to, the days I don't want to do a vlog or I'm just tired, I'll do a live stream instead.
Yeah.
I have a video for the day, but it'll just be like a live stream. So we'll see. I don't know how many people actually mean I do, but
yeah, that part I haven't planned yet. I'm just working on the novel right now.
yeah.
So I have, I'm going to do daily vlogs in November, which I'll probably say this in a video of mine, like closer to November, but I'm planning to do, because my book releases on the 12th, I want to do daily giveaways as well, like either an ebook or like I have the Redbubble merch store, so I could give away a t-shirt or something like that. And I was kind of thinking that I would have like maybe a question or something in the video the day before to have some maybe comments, and then I pick a comment or something like that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. And like with NaNoWriMo, like my channel was a lot smaller. My channel's still very small, but it's still a lot bigger than it was. And I had a lot more viewers for NaNoWriMo anyway. So I feel like there'll be enough people to sort of get in on that. But yeah. So that's why I'm kind of thinking I'll keep the vlogs and not do live streams, because it'll just be easier maybe to do the giveaway. And then after the 12th, I can do whatever.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing anything daily. I cannot make that kind of commitment. I think Kevin and I are still going to be doing our Thursday evening live write-in, so we'll probably just, that's about as far as I can commit to. Plus, most of my day is at work anyway, so, or commuting. So, but I'll probably, and I haven't the last few weeks, but I usually do weekly vlogs, so I'll probably just keep doing that. Just the same thing I've been doing. So.
I have no idea. Like, I like the idea of writing like at the same time every day and doing like a live, like Becca said, but mine would obviously have to be in the evening because I'm at work during the day.
Yeah.
But maybe just like not every day, but days when I like have a set time, and if I'm available at that time on that day, then do it.
Yeah.
And that way it's not like all over the place time wise. But I don't know how.
See, I'm on consistent times, but then if people are consistent at times I can't do, like it kills me that I can't do Laura and Kevin's streams, because it's just like they start at like 1 in the morning for me. So
yeah.
It's not gonna happen. But it kills me.
Even the if we did the relay thing, that wouldn't work for me. Or maybe catch maybe the beginning or the end or something, but it would be opposite to everyone else or something.
Yeah.
If we got enough people, we could be like a 24-hour one.
I was thinking that before. Like, I was definitely thinking that before when we did the 12-hour one. And it's funny because, like, I wanted to do the 12-hour one, and I was like, I don't know if I could get people to do it. But then everyone was really excited. And then I was like, wait, could we do 24 hours? We have enough people, like, all over that I think we could do that. Because I definitely would be down to do, like, another relay. Like, that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then and even if you can't catch all of them, then, like, I think it's nice for people that there's always one going on a day that they know, so they can do it in their own time, and then you can always watch them later, of course.
Yeah. I love rewatching live streams.
Yeah.
Writing ones. Yeah.
24 hours. That's interesting. We'll have to propose that in the Discord group.
Yeah. Can we make a spreadsheet for this?
We only need 12 people. There's 6 of us right here.
Yes, but we need. I feel like we need a strong Australian contingent.
Well, that's what. Could
to
your
cover
friend, could Ash do it? Would she be interested?
Well, yeah, in July, like I was trying to get her to start her channel.
Yeah.
And she was considering live streams, and her and Hannah and Dahlia, we were all sort of talking about doing them, but they were all just sort of on the fence, I guess.
Hop on the internet. Be weird. Like us. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, just join one. You don't even need a channel yet to join. And
Right.
we can do it.
This is kind of a good way to get a feel of what you're doing. Like,
Oh, and then there's Bridie Blake, who's an Australian contemporary author. She started a YouTube channel as well. So that's 5.
there's a dog outside my door.
I think I gotta head out. I mean, it's been over 2 hours, but Stefan's just sitting here patiently.
My husband always naps whenever it's always
I know.
a nap.
He's
Yeah.
being really cool. Like, he doesn't want to get behind me, so he's literally just sitting there. So,
Oh.
Tell him to pop in and wave.
well, he's got his headset on right now, but
Oh.
Would you face it, or would you put your back to a wall next time so that poor man can walk around the apartment?
I know. Of course.
Gosh, so mean.
I know. But thank you guys for having me.
Bye, Becca.
Bye.
Poor Stefan.
Just sitting there.
Patiently all day.
Mm-mm.
I didn't realize it had been 2 hours. It never feels like it's been that long.
Yeah, it goes by fast. Yeah.
We
That's
always,
what I probably need to start heading out too and getting food.
yep. Everybody but Phoebe who's going to bed.
Pay attention to my grandma a little bit.
Oh, golly.
Thank you for hosting, Jessica.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming and joining me on this wonderful adventure of Authortube chat. Welcome back to me.
Yeah.
Yay.
Welcome back, Ish.
Yeah, ish. It's definitely a ish situation. I'm back. Ish. I think I posted 3 videos this month. Maybe 2. Maybe 3.
Well, I did like a video that was under 2 minutes, and that's all I posted. So you're doing well.
Yeah.
I haven't filmed anything since August or something like that.
I think I did nothing in August, not a single video. And then
Yeah,
I did, like,
then
a
I had all my
wrap-up.
stuff prepared the month before, and then I just did the KDP proof video, and then I did the book trailer video. So being ahead was good. It didn't seem like I hadn't been away that long, but otherwise I wouldn't have posted anything for 2 months. It's okay. Everyone has life.
I really miss doing a video like every few days and the comments and being active in the comment section and talking to people, and I think that's why I've been doing so many live streams, even though like not necessarily always on my channel, but I've been doing live streams just to like find people to talk to because I'm lonely over here. Sad world. All alone. Except not really, because my house is full of people.
Sometimes that's when you're the loneliest.
Yeah.
I mean, Melissa sleeps 97% of the day, so it's like she's not even here. And Danica's always either at a friend's house or at cheerleading or a football game or something. So it's just, they're still here and they still need me, but not like in my face all day.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's like affecting my lighting and my thing. I don't know. I'm weird, okay? Leave me alone. Anybody have anything they need to say before we all run away?
No.
No faces, no nothing. Okay. Anyone who's still here?
Emily's book. That's
Oh,
all.
yeah. You have to be more like Jesse, just yell it. Buy my book. Emily has a book coming out in November. You can pre-order it now. And if you want links for things like that, I didn't come prepared. But Emily's channel is linked down below, and I'm sure she will send you in the proper direction. And everyone else's face is linked in the description box below. And I also linked Natalia Lee's channel in case you're interested in her Preptober workbook. Workbook. Okay, anyway, that's all I have for today. See y'all later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
And broadcast now? Yes, please. 20 minutes later, just